I don't claim to be a CLD professional. I haven't got a qualification, and therefore it was quite important, I think, that I have got to undertake CPD because I'm responsible for CLD as Executive Director in North Lanarkshire, and it was a great privilege to be able to accept the offer to chair the CLD reference group that Education Scotland set up, and indeed Learning and Teaching Scotland Days, the youth work in schools. I chaired that group as well. Excellent CPD opportunity because you have got to do a lot of professional reading before you embark on chairing that group. It's lovely to see so many people around that assisted my learning through those two groups. From that, of course, I do represent the Association of Directors of Education on the Management Board for a Curriculum for Excellence, and there was a missing representation there, and there was a shortage, nobody representing early years or indeed the CLD sector, and I was delighted when Duncan was asked to join the Management Board so that we could really get a focus on the Curriculum for Excellence is for lifelong learning and not just the statutory education part of the service. And I'm sure many of you might be aware that now ADES, as a result of my engagement with the CLD reference group, we've pushed ADES to establish a network on lifelong learning. And those of you that may also be members of ADES, I hope you would be participating in the lifelong learning network. So, the impact of CLD in terms of advancing Scotland as a learning society. The added value that CLD learning and development brings to improving the outcomes for young people, for adults, for their communities, is very, very well documented and well supported by our colleagues, as we heard this morning, in Education Scotland, from Scottish Government colleagues and from the CLD Standards Council. The strategic context for community learning and development has never been so rich, building on the guidance laid out in Working and Learning Together from 2004 and its refresh in 2008. And the CLD sector has continued to develop its unique approach to learning in communities right across Scotland. This approach is now supported and recognised by many other strategies linked to the education of our young people, our adults and communities. And the strategies you'll be familiar with are listed there. Other strategies detailing the development of youth work, lifelong learning, community capacity building have also highlighted the key role of CLD. In a broader context, the value of the CLD sector's approach has also been recognised within many key strategic documents and strategic areas. Each of these documents propose greater engagement and partnership with the communities. Proposals that the CLD sector have and will continue to deliver on this. Within my own locality in North Lanarkshire, we also strive to deliver on these key strategic areas through our Community Learning and Development Service. In North Lanarkshire, you'll have heard me mention before, we've got a single combined CLD service that covers the three elements of youth work, lifelong learning and capacity building. But more importantly, the service is integral to the learning and leisure service in the council. And that therefore includes our schools, our early years, our cultural services, our public libraries, our psychological services and our sport development services. The CLD service plays a key role in community learning and development partnership, and this is a very strong and robust partnership. It includes all of our three local colleges in North Lanarkshire. Skills Development Scotland are represented, the National Health Service, voluntary organisations in VAN NL, our employability providers and many others. And the CLD partnership feeds into the North Lanarkshire overarching community planning partnership. And that's done through the Lifelong Learning Working Group. On the slide here, you will see the last one there is the Lifelong Learning Working Group, which I chair, and that feeds into the North Lanarkshire Partnership. Most of our work in the Learning and Leisure Service goes through that themed group, but of course we contribute to the others in terms of community safety or health and well-being or regeneration. The Community Learning and Development Service is a key partner within the local More Choices, More Chances programme, and we have a subgroup of the Lifelong Learning Working Group dedicated to MCMC. This partnership reports back on a regular basis to the Lifelong Learning Working Group, and as such, this subgroup is the lead delivery mechanism for our activity agreements. The Community Learning and Development Service also has a key role in chairing other subgroups of these partnership groups, for example, Children's Services, Young People and Youth Justice Forums. Within the Community Learning and Development work streams, we continue to drive forward the vision and the aspirations of a curriculum for excellence, which has complemented our own strategy. Since 1997 in North Lanarkshire, we've had the strategy for Raising Achievement for All. It was ahead of a curriculum for excellence. Raising Achievement for All is now in its third edition, because when we became a Learning and Leisure Service in 2007, we had our third review, and the subtitle for Phase 3 is Experiences to Last a Lifetime. Community Learning and Development and its partners are represented on many of our Curriculum for Excellence groups, including the Overarching Strategic Implementation Group, the Leadership Group, the Curriculum Structures Group, the Health and Wellbeing Group, Outdoor Learning and Early Years subgroups. Curriculum for Excellence puts the wider educational agenda of developing the 4 capacities and delivering on the 6 entitlements at the heart of everything that we do, both in our formal and our informal learning environments. Learners in the 21st century need to be able to interact with others. They need to explore their own strengths. They need to be able to negotiate their own learning pathways or trails. They need to be able to deal with and take responsibility for the world that's out there waiting for them. And there's certainly some marvellous things happening, not just in North Lanarkshire, but I'm sure across the authorities in Scotland. And we've been working very, very hard in partnership to create opportunities that are rich, they're grounded, they're connected, they're based on experiential learning, and we've been doing this over recent years. I think we've recognised for a long time that the one standard curriculum doesn't meet the needs of all young people. The one size does not fit all. And why do we know that? Because I'd like to think in North Lanarkshire we've been listening to our young people, and they've been the people that have been telling us that a standard curriculum doesn't meet all of their needs. The partnership with Community Learning and Development is crucial if we're to improve the educational attainment and support, something I'm passionate about, the wider achievements of all of our young people, but in particular those that are most disadvantaged. We will never achieve this if we can't also provide appropriate and timely support to families and communities to ensure that there genuinely is education for all. The principles of a curriculum for excellence and the ethos of a curriculum for excellence are just as relevant to our adults and our communities as they are to the young people. Learning communities use learning as a way to build community capacity and to develop social cohesion, inclusion, regeneration and economic development. And the report produced by Her Majesty's Inspectorate or Education Scotland last May, Learning in Scotland's Communities, captures the impact community learning and development is having across Scotland. In North Lanarkshire, we clearly see the impact community learning and development contributes to an improving picture with service improvements in relation to, we have a significant increase in accredited learning opportunities for adults and young people, such as the Duke of Edinburgh Award, Youth Achievement Awards, Dynamic Youth Awards, all of it endorsed by the Standards Council. We've also been expanding into a lot of volunteering and created an entitlement for every young person to volunteer. The personalisation and choice is around in what area do they wish to volunteer. And we've looked to maximise the opportunities where appropriate for qualifications for young people in this area. An increase in the participation levels in literacy and numeracy and other essential skills for life, work and learning. An increased involvement in transition programmes at all levels, from nursery through to the transition into employment. Gaining a health promoting status for our youth service in line with the health and wellbeing outcomes, built on the excellent work on health promoting nurseries and health promoting schools that we delivered in partnership with NHS Lanarkshire. A realignment of our community learning and development workers, in brackets schools. These are the workers, 33 in total, that were dedicated to support parents and primary school aged children. And we've reprioritised the work to focus on the deprivation statistics and ensure that the families that most need the support get the support. Through innovative youth work and partnership work, we're seeing a year-on-year decline in youth offending across all of our localities since 2005. And in fact, the commander for the police area is saying a 30% reduction in youth crime in the town of Coatbridge alone is quite phenomenal. The implementation of a curriculum for excellence, linking the experiences and outcomes in building the curriculum 3 to areas such as the Duke of Edinburgh Award, the summer schools, the 16+ activity agreements, the youth forums, the Prince's Trust, XL clubs, and making sure that all of this is embedded and well planned, both in terms of planning and delivery. This is our brand for our activity agreements. It's been designed by the young people themselves to promote becoming involved in the 16+ learning choices and the activity agreements. CLD has the lead role in our service for all of this work, but of course it's delivered through partnership. The creation of a learning hub within each of our 6 localities to deliver the North Lanarkshire activity agreements has been hugely successful and now been nationally evaluated. More than 550 young people have participated since the start of the project in 2009. And looking at the performance in the current year, we're not quite finished the year, but we're heading for a 71% positive destination from the cohort that are currently involved. And that's grown from the high 40% to now 71%. Greater support and training to community groups and to organisations, and improved partnership working with the voluntary sector to deliver on our single outcome agreement in North Lanarkshire. Significant improvement in our arrangements and our capacity for self-evaluation at a community learning and development level. And we've been working this through with our schools and through the validated self-evaluation process. However, the success in North Lanarkshire and across Scotland could not be achieved if we didn't have a confident and competent workforce. This is a huge challenge given the diverse nature of remits that staff undertake in community learning and development. When I look at the Community Learning Development Service in North Lanarkshire, we've got 162 qualified staff. CLD workers with specialisms in youth work, lifelong learning and community capacity building. We've got homeschool partnership officers in every single one of our high schools, and we've got 24 of those. We've got and they provide support to the families as well as the young people in the schools. And we've got home link workers supporting the early years sector. Adult literacy and numeracy development workers, again with close links to the secondary sector at the point of transition. Development officers to support curriculum development, inclusion, equalities, information and engagement. And we also employ a further 87 support workers on contracts ranging from 3 hours to 15 hours per week to support the community learning and development provision. Thus, the need for continuous development has never been so crucial, especially when operating in such a complicated landscape, where each community or target group presents individual needs. Having a Standards Council for Community Learning and Development will ensure that these challenges will be developed into actions to support the improvement of CLD practice and ensure quality services for communities and individuals across Scotland, as we've heard today, by ensuring that there's a professional approval structure for qualifications, there's a registration system, and developing a model to support induction, CPD, and learning opportunities. The recently launched CPD strategy for CLD sets out a framework for the development of a learning culture, which will not only benefit the practitioners, but will provide clear guidance for employers on building an effective and competent CLD workforce. The wheel of competence shown on the screen highlights some of the key areas required for our staff to become competent CLD practitioners. So as I close, I would like to thank the Standards Council for the opportunity to come along and to endorse the contribution and the impact CLD has on advancing Scotland as a learning society. Whilst we face challenging and enduring times, we all play a part in shaping the future of our young people, adults and communities through the services we deliver. And in keeping with the recent Conversations document, I'd ask all of you to consider: what are the lasting impacts of our interventions in ensuring a flourishing Scotland? Thank you.